At the Gray Orphanage, on a forgotten island, whispered stories were more precious than bread. And the most beloved story was of the Wishing Isle, a mythical place hidden behind an eternal mist, where an ancient lighthouse would make any dream come true. Kai, a boy with a faraway look in his eyes, believed in that story with all his heart. Yumi, a practical and clever girl, was always the one to pull Kai back down to earth. "That's just a fairy tale, Kai," she said, seeing him lost in his map again. "The sea is dangerous. We don't even have a boat." Kai just smiled, a grin as bright as the morning sun. "Then we'll build one." Little Yuki, the youngest and shyest of the group, timidly stepped forward. I want to go too," he whispered. "I wish I could eat until I'm full every day." Kai put an arm around Yuki's shoulder, his voice brimming with confidence. "Not just full, Yuki. We'll have a feast that never ends. I promise." And so, the great plan began. Under the cover of darkness, Yumi, with her natural skill, began to piece together driftwood they had collected. Yuki, though his hands were clumsy, tried his best to hold the ropes tight for Yumi to tie. They worked in silence, with only the sound of the lapping waves for company. Kai wasn't good at building, but he was a brilliant explorer. He scoured the hidden corners of the island, finding the sturdiest planks, a coil of washed-up rope, and even a tattered but usable sailcloth. Every treasure he brought back was greeted with cheers. One night, a thunderstorm rolled in. The sound of thunder and lightning made Yuki shrink in fear. "Maybe we should give up," he whimpered. Yumi said nothing, but quietly took Yuki's hand and placed it on a knot on the raft. "I tied it with the strongest knot I know. It will never come undone. Just like us." Finally, after weeks of hard work, the raft was finished. It wasn't beautiful, and it looked a bit lopsided, but in the children's eyes, it was the grandest ship. Kai solemnly took a piece of charcoal and wrote one word on its side: dream. The night of the escape arrived. Yuki brought a small bundle with a few sweet potatoes, his entire fortune. Kai looked back at the orphanage one last time, the gloomy place that had imprisoned their childhood. He didn't feel sadness, only excitement for a new life. Together they pushed the raft Dream into the water. Yumi deftly hoisted the patched-up sail. A good wind caught it, and the raft slowly drifted out to sea. For the first time in their lives, they tasted freedom. The island and the orphanage grew smaller and smaller, then disappeared below the horizon. Now there was only the vast sea around them, a tiny speck in the immense ocean, carrying a dream bigger than the sea itself. Their lighthouse was ahead, and the journey had just begun. The first dawn at sea was magnificent. The sky was painted with brilliant colors they had never seen from the orphanage window. The initial fear melted away, replaced by a sense of awe. They shared Yuki's sweet potatoes, and it was the most delicious breakfast in the world. But then days passed, and the wind died. The tattered sail hung limply. The sun beat down mercilessly. Their small water skin was nearly empty. Yumi began to lose patience. "I told you this was a bad idea. We're stranded." But Kai's hope did not flicker. He pointed to a flock of seabirds flying in a definite direction. "They're heading somewhere. Land must be close." At night, he told Yuki stories of brave sailors who navigated by the stars, his voice as steady as a lighthouse in the vast darkness. Just as their thirst became unbearable, Yuki spotted something floating. It was a wooden crate. With all their might, they hauled it onto the raft. Inside, nestled in straw, were fresh, sweet oranges. It was like a gift from the sea itself, a sign that they shouldn't give up. The sky suddenly darkened. A ferocious storm descended upon them. Waves as tall as the orphanage crashed down on their tiny raft. The dream creaked and groaned as if it would break apart. Fear, cold and sharp, gripped them. "Hold on!" Kai yelled over the screaming wind. He took a rope and tied it around all three of them, securing them to the mast. Yumi shielded Yuki with her own body. In that terrifying moment, they were no longer three orphans, but a family, bound together against the sea's fury. The dawn broke, quiet and gray. The storm had passed. They were bruised, soaked, and exhausted, but they were alive. The raft was damaged, but it had held. As the mist began to clear, Yumi was the first to see it. A tiny pinprick of light, pulsing rhythmically on the horizon. "Kai, look." A new surge of energy flowed through their veins. The sail was torn, the tiller was cracked, but it didn't matter. They used their hands, broken planks, anything they could find to paddle. With every stroke, the light grew bigger, warmer. It was real. At last, their feet touched the island's sandy shore. It was beautiful, lush with green trees and colorful flowers. The lighthouse stood tall and silent, its light automated. There was no powerful wizard, but there was a sturdy little house, a well with clear water, and trees heavy with fruit. It was a home. As they watched their first sunset from their new home, they understood. Yuki's wish for enough food had come true. Yumi's quiet wish for a safe place was here. And Kai's dream of a great adventure had led them to this moment. The lighthouse didn't grant wishes, it simply guided them. The real magic was in their courage, their friendship, and in the little raft named Dream. They had become each other's lighthouse,